Now, bringing it a little bit back closer to home was the Villanova issue with the law school and Temple. We know more recently with the elevation of the business school rankings. Not as much has been written about these two situations, right? But there's enough that you can glean in the press over the past several years that these factors, again, were in play. You know, Villanova, it's law school, right, which is somewhat separate in governance from the university, inflated the GPA and LSAT scores to bolster its national ranking. And a similar thing with Temple in terms of the business school trying to boost its ranking as well. And so as I'm reading stories, you know, this design flaw, what is the design flaw? Well, these rankings are really important, and the integrity of those rankings is very important, right, because of the reputational issue that now has occurred. Is this insufficient process to detect the data manipulation? The fact is, again, some people knew about this issue. There probably wasn't the mechanism in place for someone to say, there's a problem. The maintenance, I say, is that important data was never subject to internal audit, that's probably the maintenance thing here, is have someone objectively evaluate whether there's integrity with those numbers. And we know the economic pressure, right? The higher rankings result in just better performance. And this data manipulation really is the fact is they weren't following procedures, because I'm sure the procedure as it is written is it's got to be accurate, it's got to be timely, and it has to be complete. So this communication, again, not too much written here, but I could assure you there was some conspiracy, you know, between the law school deans and management and perhaps the direct reports within that area. It wasn't just one individual. And so people know, and people ought to have the ability to raise their hand and say, there's a problem. So the arrogance of the political agendas, again, apply to this, right? So you don't have to be Bhopal, you don't have to be PG&E, multi-billion-dollar companies, to suffer something like this as well, right? You're familiar too with the law school dean, or excuse me, the business school dean is now suing Temple, right, for a fair amount of money, $20 million, something like that. University of North